Uri, you ready? Uri?
Oh, I was on mute. Okay, we good to go?
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
Just hello, everyone. I see we have around 40 today. Thank you all for joining this session. I would love to organize more of those sessions, so please feel free to reach me or write in the WhatsApp groups. What would you like to learn more for future sessions as well? Also, please, if you want to talk and present your work in one of the next sessions, please reach out as well. If you don't know me, I'm Boaz. I'm based in New Jersey. I started several communities in the past 10 years. Recently, I started this AI community. Basically, I wanted to learn and share my knowledge and learn also from other people. So I wanted to share to create that space for everyone to learn together. Thank you for taking part of this community. I know some of you already sharing ideas and questions in the WhatsApp groups. So thank you for that as well. We don't have a lot of time today. We have left 40 minutes. Uri would need to finish a bit before 3 p.m. EST. So I will move the stage to Uri. I know Uri for a while. He's one of the most AI first builders. In addition to his work as a CEO, I will let him to introduce himself, but I'm really glad that he agreed to come today and give that session. So thank you so much, Uri.
All right, and thank you, Boaz. So a little bit before I start, Boaz and I were building together and trying new stuff for the last couple of years since GenAI started in JL. And he mentioned in the group, I think it was a month ago, a few weeks ago, if anyone used Obsidian or Obsidian it was. And then I said yes, and he said, all right, let's, I showed him that, and he was, all right, let's do a session about it. And here we are. And big shout out to Sar who is watching this and from Israel, and he was the one who introduced me to Obsidian and LLM Wiki. And I've been hearing about Obsidian for a while, and it looks like just a simple app to view like MD files, which that it is what it is. But when you combine it with something else, then it becomes something else. And I made a short deck for us, and then we'll go straight into the demo, because ideally it will be more of a hands-on session. And feel free to talk and ask anything. Can you see my deck?
If you have questions along the way, please feel free to share in the chat, and then I can stop maybe Uri and ask those questions.
Can you see my deck?
Yeah.
All right. So we're talking about three main ingredients. One of them, the LLM Wiki, which is a pattern that Andrej Karpathy came up with probably 2 months ago, at least he published it. And I'll show you what it is. It's a method of him using knowledge bases and LLMs all together with Obsidian, which is just a viewer for MD files, kind of what you have a lot of MD files on different folders. That's what's going to make it look like Notion, that you can read it and see what's up with them. And the last part is obviously the brain, whatever that is, Anthropic, OpenAI, Gemini, whatever. And all of these together are creating these new methods, at least that I've been using in the last 2 months for managing and creating knowledge bases for different reasons, either in the company for analyzing phone calls or using transcript from Zoom meetings or the pitch of Tori, my company, that has different knowledge about what Tori is doing and so on. It can also be memory for your OpenClaw, Hermes, whatever, which we are also testing. And that's whatever knowledge base that is. I'm co-founder and CEO of Tori. I'm building Tori for the last 9 years. We are the market leaders in SAP management AI governance. I'm a maker, product guy, and early adopter, everything AI, love automation, love data. That's me with a beard up to 2 weeks ago. So what Karpathy came up with and what he said is that when you think about data vector stores or vector databases, and even if tools that are more accessible like NotebookLM, there are a couple of problems with them. And the two problems at the beginning, at the top, is what he is mentioning. So one thing is the data is not accumulated. So if you think about something like Pinecone or NotebookLM, when you throw raw data into, if you chunk it or not, never mind, you want it to be your knowledge base. So then when you start asking questions, that knowledge base, then it produces information, synthetic data and synthetic information, and that was maybe analysis of Q4 or whatever. And then if you ask the same question the week after, it's exactly doing the same process, and it's not updated, it's not accumulated. And sometimes when one person is asking a question, the result of this question can already be used for other people and both reduce the work of the LLM and also increase the size of the knowledge base in a positive way. The other thing is there are different conflicts between sources, and sometimes you're missing them, or you don't know what is taking over what, or what is more important. And I added the two at the bottom is the left one, you can't see the data. So if you think about something like a vector database or vector store, even NotebookLM, you know that you pushed the data inside in some way. You don't really know how it's organized inside the LLM brain or the LLM when he pulled it out. And with this method, with combination of Obsidian, you can see all the data and the wiki and how it is all structured. And the last part is human keep to make mistakes and keep messing up wikis. So if any one of you is using Notion or Confluence or anything like that, think on the one side, you have something like Notion that's created by human, maintained by human. Maybe they start with agents inside and it's connected to Claude or whatever, but still you are the one who's managing it. And one person created this wiki file about that. Another person created the same wiki file with different information. It's all mixed up. It's all kind of not merged, and it's not linked together. So it's also harder to understand everything and what's going on. And that's the nature of wikis and humans, that you start a wiki and it's amazing, and then after a while it's a mess. It's very hard to organize it. LLM, it's much easier for LLM to organize a wiki. So what's the idea here? The idea is to take raw data, and raw data, it can be unstructured data like gong recordings, transcript, decks, one-pagers, whatever you think about, tasks, help centers, exports, and you put that as a raw data. And then an LLM take that data and create a wiki with it. Think about it like your own Notion organized, that you can read it and the LLM can read it. And the last part, you can start asking more advanced questions about it. So this is the process and this is the idea. And with the LLM Wiki and what Karpathy is talking about, is saying there are 3 layers to that. So the raw will be whatever raw that is. And at first, you can put stuff in the raw manually, like move your transcripts from yesterday. And if you want, you can create cron jobs or automations that just ingest data there automatically, the raw data, and filling the raw information. And then the wiki, which is a wiki, is a bunch of folders with some files that help the LLM navigate. And then there is the schema. And the schema, if you think about your knowledge base in Notion, an LLM is going to try every time you're going to ask it to find something there, it's going to learn everything all together all from the beginning. And for those who use Claude or Cowork or Claude Code or Codex, you know that Claude MD and Agents MD files, that's pretty much what helps the LLM understand how to navigate and how to do everything all in that file. So if you think about your knowledge base, once it has that schema, and this schema, you may update that schema also as it goes, then the LLM can navigate much, much better in this knowledge base. And he built it, and that's the way he's using it. He or it, however you want to call an LLM or an agent. And the idea is that us, me as a human, I'm in charge of adding raw data. The LLM in charge of organizing it and fixing it or making it a wiki. I'm not touching any files in the wiki. I'm not editing them, and I'm not changing them. And all the files in the wiki are MD files. And the schema is also something that was created by the LLM, but I can tell it, now we are adding this, so I want to add that part for this department. And he knows how to update the schema and everything in order for the LLM to be able to work in it. And the 3 main operations, which we'll get to, one of them is ingest. Ingest is not putting the raw data inside. Ingest is taking the raw data and making it a wiki. Query is just asking questions about whatever analysis you want to do about the knowledge base. And lint, that's pretty much something you can do once in a while to ask the LLM, find out if there are any contradictions or files that are not linked or stale data. And an LLM can do a much better job than us in looking at everything and organizing it one code, especially the latest models, and becoming more and more capable as we go. So, and some claim that it's also, as the models are becoming more and more sophisticated, they can move better between a lot of MD files rather than they need a vector database. But that's something else. So these are the 3 operations. And now let's go to the demo. Before we start demo, any questions? What is that? Okay. Anyway, so the demo, we like to do demos with Stark Industries. So the demo that we're going to do, that Stark Industries took Jarvis, commercialized Jarvis, and a bunch of CSMs that the Avengers had calls with customers. So we're going to analyze these calls. We're not going to do it from the sales perspective. I thought to do it from the sales perspective, but we're going to do it from a product perspective. So what I mean by that, we're going to create a knowledge base from Gong transcript of the Avengers that are selling Jarvis in order for the product team to understand everything they want to know. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. Just a second. Can you see my plot code?
Yeah.
All right. I'm being cheap on you with Sonnet, but I'm also getting to the limit soon. But so before we jump into that, let me show you what is or where is LLM Wiki. And that's only everything there is to know about LLM Wiki is a gist in GitHub. And Bob can probably share the link after that he wrote. Nothing too long. You can read it. It's interesting. It tells pretty much what I talked about. And that's the approach. And we're actually going to use it and copy paste that. But the prompt I'm going to give to Claude, it will be this prompt. Just a second. So this is how I start an Obsidian database with knowledge base with Claude. I'm telling it, turn this folder. It's working into a folder here that I opened just for this demo. Turn this folder into an Obsidian vault that will serve as a knowledge base for the product team, helping them learn more about the product from customer calls, sentiment, feature requests, recurring themes, and so on. Build a knowledge base according to Karpathy's LLM Wiki methodology, which I will paste below. I told him this is a demo I'm giving on how to use LLM Wiki. It's not Tori, so it won't remember that. You can skip this part. And then I say, before you start, ask me any questions that would help you make this great. And this is a basic prompt, and then I'm going to paste the entire LLM Wiki.
I just shared the link as well in the chat.
So I'm going to paste this one here. I'm going to give it like one shot. I'm not going to do it on planning. Oh, sorry. Just a second. In the meantime, let me tell you a couple of things. So here, in this folder, I have a few raw files, but he asked me some questions. Do you have actual customer call transcript to use, or should I create realistic sample transcript? Let's say there is a folder called raw in this folder with calls to be ingested, but let's ingest them after build wiki with my rule. Okay, that's one. What are the primary entity types you want the wiki to track? Okay, let's do feature request, customers, themes, sentiment, all good. Demo goal, what's the primary things you want to show the demo audience? Never mind, focusing more on the demo than the wiki. Let's say both end-to-end. All right. So just to show you what's also Karpathy is talking about here, another thing that is important, and that's the LLM can do also better than we do on scale, is how the front matter of the file is look like. So these are the GON calls, right? These are the transcript. These are demo of the Avengers, but everyone has a front matter here that later on becomes the properties of this call, right? This is how it's being exported from Gong, for example. But when it creates the files itself, then it's going to be it's going to create these properties for each one of them. I'm going to get to this one soon. In the meantime, any questions?
As the LLM grows in size, what about token consumption?
Obviously, that's a big concern. And the token consumption it depends on, like the biggest consumption is on the ingestion. So the more you ingest, obviously, that's the more token consumption. And actually, the idea here is that it's reducing the token consumption. And I'll tell you in a second what I mean. Let me just open this one. Okay, I'll keep Obsidian in a second. But if you think about it, what's going to happen here, and you see it started creating the wiki. What's going to happen here, if you ask, if you want to analyze, let's analyze the churn reasons in Q4 from GOM calls, then every time the LLM will have to go through all the different GOM calls, right? And on this wiki, the LLM will rarely go to the raw data. It will go and look on these pages of the wiki. And that's part of the instructions it has in the CloudMD file, right? So if you see this CloudMD file that it's just created, so okay, so it finished with the wiki. The work is ready, structure, war wiki, and index log, what makes log key artifact, blah, blah, blah. Okay, when you're ready, start ingesting. So you see it here, when an LLM, or if you connect an LLM to the folder, it knows exactly this code is persistent, call transcript, the product team uses to do that and that. It tells the LLM what it's about, the structure, how it works, core entities, how the front meta look like, different body sections that it has, how a customer look like, and so on. So it has here everything it needs to know about the knowledge base inside of it, right? And as you know, when Cloud Session, and if it's Codex or whatever, and also OpenCloud will do the same, it's going to read first Cloud MD file, and then it knows what to do next. So let's see what it built here. So it built one folder for calls, one folder for customer, one folder for features, synthesis, that. You built an index. An index, every file that it's going to add, it's going to be added to the index, and a log file of these. This is the log file of ingestion. So let's try and see and make it and do ingest. So I'm going to tell it now ingest all the calls from the raw folder to the wiki. And what I just told them now, this easily can be turned into a skill, and then you can run it in a schedule or whatever you want. And now we have a folder here on our computer, can be on Google Drive or whatever, or in Git, a folder that has all the customer success calls analyzed for product analysis. So let me show you. This is how it's going to look like on Obsidian. And Obsidian is just open a folder, and this is how it looks. So you're going to have all the files here. You see, this is the phone meta. This is the raw. These are the exports from GOM. So it shows you all the text, just a way to look and read MD files. It has nothing more than that. You have some fancy connections like map that shows you all the links and search and so on, and many stuff. It's not even necessary to use it. I know some that are created like a vault with LLM Wiki, and they don't even use it. If it's an OpenClaw, Obsidian is not relevant. It's relevant for you to see what OpenClaw has, right? But now what's going to happen is that it's going to start and ingest the information. And here, it should know this. Here, it knows what is the ingestion workflow. It knows it according to the prompt that we gave them with LLM Wiki. So it's going to read the sources on raw, brief the user, write the call summary, upgrade, update, whatever customer page, blah, blah, blah. It knows what ingestion should be. Without the skill, it understands that. And that's an important part of the CloudMD file, so it knows what to ingest. After the ingestion, the first ingestion or some ingestions, you can create a robust skill for ingestion, and then change it over time to whatever you want it to look like and whatever you want it to do. Besides that, there are a few other important stuff here. So like this one, wait a second. No. So it tell Claude about lint workflow and how to query. And here, this is also an important one. So this is a key part of it. So if the answer is analytical and worth keeping, write it as a synthesis part page in the wiki synthesis. So this is how Claude, the agent, is starting to save questions you asked about it, and so on. So now you see when I asked it to ingest, it started to ingest calls. So it's adding the calls, but here the calls are just summary, so it will be easier to navigate. Another thing that is good with Obsidian and the way also the LLM Wiki works, that it links the different parts. So here there's a feature request, and then you can jump to the page of the themes in the feature request and so on. So it goes back and forth. So you see that probably going to have customers here. So it still didn't ingest all of them. Once we see it's going to ingest Wakanda to the customer, so we're going to see Wakanda right here, right? So it's still working. Does it work? I'm going to answer questions. Then after the initial step, which model do we run ingestion? Yeah, it's a question that I don't know. I mean, I tried everything from also Fable for the big one, and sometimes when, let's say I have 5,000 codes that I want to ingest, I might have Sonnet for just ingestion, because it's really, really a lot of work. And that's that. There's another benefit here of token utilization, that if you think about raw data, and your raw data might be PDF of one-pagers or a deck or whatever, and in the ingestion, the LLM actually turned the PDF into an MD file as part of it, and now when you ask it questions about whatever, compose a pitch for Tori for a deck, then it won't go to the PDFs, it will go to the MD files. And reading PDFs is much a heavy, token-heavy job for the LLM than reading an MD file. So this is another benefit here. So in the raw, you can throw whatever you want. The one-time ingestion might be more expensive.
There was one question, why this working better than RAG, for example?
It's not necessarily working better than RAG, but that's what I mentioned at the beginning, that with RAG, it won't update itself as you were asking the RAG questions. So if you are asking the RAG questions, like exactly like what I said here, like this one, so it knows that when the answer is worth keeping, it will keep it, right? All the clauses have something similar, but with RAG, you just push data in. It's not being updated, and that's part of what the major thing that Karpathy talked about, the difference between the LLM Wiki idea and RAGs, is that it's not being updated. What I'm adding to that is that with RAG, me as a human, I don't know exactly what's going on there. I know the chunks that were added, kind of like the raw, but here I can see where it's getting the data, how it's getting the data, how things are connected, what it knows about this customer, what it knows about that customer, and so on. So this is how I see the difference between RAG. How do you reduce hallucination if users want to correct and expand the wiki? Would that be done via query workflow? Any best practice collaboration between multiple users? Good question. This is something that I'm actually working on these days, of how to get, for now, it's mostly me using these knowledge bases, and some other people in the company start creating their knowledge bases. Obviously, It's also a waste of credit where everyone is asking the same questions all the time. But this is the next step for us for collaboration. And the idea that we're going to do is that the knowledge base is being pushed to Git, and you can pull and push from Git the knowledge base. I still don't have a good answer of how to use it collaboratively. I know that Monday just published also a call on their podcast for podcast. There's a session, there's an episode about exactly LLM Wiki that they started using it that way. But it's still we still need to see how that's going. But if you have users that are only asking questions, it's much easier. And the other way is if you use some kind of RMS. So we are also testing using RMS with the internal help instead of the internal help desk. So it has all the policies and everything around Tori, and only a few people, it knows that only a few people can change its knowledge base. The rest of them can just ask questions. So these are some of the questions. Yeah, you can post the startup thing. Let's see what's up with it. In the meantime, you can see it started creating customers. So the idea here, we had only 5 gong calls, and all this information came from the 5 gong calls. And this is the idea. So if you had a meeting and you push the meeting to the row and then you ingest it, this one meeting can go to 10 different places in the wiki. And for us, it will be much harder to do it if you think about something like Notion, to put the decisions that we're taking in the meeting, the action items, if it's related to certain projects, make it something that is both consumable by human, because I can read it, I can go into this customer and understand what's going on, right? And also the LLM. And this is something that I don't have with RAG or vector databases to understand what's going on inside the knowledge base. And there you have a summary of Monday Wiki LLM Wiki. This is sort of a GRAG, talking about semantic embedding. It's sort of, yeah, it's sort of, in a way, though, that it's easier for me to see, unless there's a better way for me to see GRAG, but easier for me to navigate inside of it as a human. Any other questions? Okay, so it's almost finished, I guess. You can see that it's identified different features. It also adds tags to these features. And each of these files, it's an MD file that is stored right here in the wiki. So if you think about the features, this is how a feature looks like. This is the front matter that later on makes it easier for the LLM also to pull only, if you want to see only the voice of the customer, only the accessibility stuff, when it was first requested and when not. And these properties, the LLM decided that these will be the properties for a page of a feature in the first prompt of creating the knowledge base. But we can also change it as we go.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I can type it, but how do you keep this graph constantly updated? And you showed something there, but one of the things, I think we all are playing with this, and we have Obsidian and we put MD files. It's actually working great. I keep asking myself how it keeps is a living organism and not becoming stale.
Yeah, it depends on so it depends on what the data that you feed it is. So there are different ways to do that. So if it's like your claw memory and you're going to talk to it, so you're going to say everything that I'm talking to you, save on your row and then run ingest or something like that. That is more agentic kind of. If it's something that is more like this, that it's more automated, so you can either run a cron job every day or every hour or whatever you want to push gong calls or Zoom transcript to this part, to the raw files, and then also run the same thing on a schedule to ingest. Okay, so this is how you keep it always up to date without you doing anything. And if you're using Cowork, you can also do it on Cowork with creating skills and schedules. I know my co-founder is using mostly Cowork. He's never, it doesn't go into Obsidian, and he doesn't care about it. You just say, okay, I know everything is structured well there, and I'm gonna connect this folder to my Cowork, and then I'm gonna ask everything in the Cowork, in like 12 Cowork.
I want to sharpen my question. So facts are facts. They don't change over time, most of them, but decisions, behaviors,
Oh, yeah.
they change. Like tomorrow I change my point of view.
Yeah.
So
Good question.
how do you keep that graph updated with your latest point of view?
It depends, because let's say it's gone cold and you want to know in this example, you want to know feature request, right? And you got all these feature requests, and 3 quarters went by. These are not interested, right? So you can tell Claude as part of the ingest or something else, and say you can explain it with your words. I actually did it, and say some of the parts here, like reasons for customer win or loss, are not relevant as time goes by. So make sure that after X amount of time, you either archive it or decide what to do with it, and then it can be part of the ingestion or some job that runs like every month, every day, every whatever. If it's action items, that's a little bit harder, because action items, and I try to do that as well, and you get from the meeting all the action items. Someone needs to tell it that the action item was done. And that's something that you don't always do. So it's not always great for following action items unless you are very methodical with getting the data in that an action item was done, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I appreciate your answer, because a second brain, thinking about how we think, we constantly keep updated context. That's why I'm asking how you keep the context constantly updated with the latest facts, the latest whatever happened, and clean it up.
At the end of the day, it all depends on what the raw data is and how you automate the fetching the raw data, getting the raw from somewhere into raw, and ingestion can run whatever you want. And as the knowledge base grow larger, or things are changing, or a new department was added, so you can tell it, you can have it like, okay, there's a new department, BizOps, and I want from now on the ingestion to also take care of them and get everything that is important to them, and also everything else in the company, like everything until now, to make it work for them. So from that point on, it knows to do that, because one prompt with them, and it updates also the cloud file. But it's finished, so let's see what's going on here.
Ophir, I can add on that. Like I saw examples where you can, this Uri showed just like calls, but you can ingest Gmails or Jira, Atlassian, Notion tasks to the raw. I use that a lot for like also to ingest emails to the raw folder, so it has more context about what actually I was finished to do. I use that to like write draft emails, etc. So once you add more context to the raw, the LLM makes a better decisions.
Yeah. Let me just let's just show you. So it finished ingesting all these 5 calls. So it has customers. Okay, identify all the different customers. So it has an overview of what the key stakeholders, what they talk about, sentiment, key request, and you can follow everything here to the different places. And you can see, okay, this is from this customer, or this is that, or related teams, and so on. And you can find it also the call and that. But let's see what happened when we want to ask it a question. So let me just clear this. let's do also prepare some questions. Let's do some questions that are hard for us to get from like these kind of things and easier for an LLM. What are the top recurring product gaps that customers have raised but that don't have committed fixed date, right? Something that if now an LLM will have to search on the entire Gong database, it's going to be very, very time consuming and token consuming. Now, I don't know where it's looking, but we can see where it's looking. It's looking on the different feature pages. So it looks here, and then it goes, oh, this guy requested here, and this is what they're being told. And maybe it will also go to the call, right? So it goes to the customer, and then it can see the top request of the customer, and then it can go to the call history and see what happened in the call history, right? And I can, as a human, I can also navigate on that like in seconds, right? Where in a vector and a database, it's really hard. And in Notion, I would never be able to do that because it's a big mess that we created as humans. So now we did, okay, so real time alerts driven, no time, and this part, it's not. So here's the requested status. And now you can also say, sometimes it will write it by itself, and sometimes it will not. It decides when. I told it, okay, add this to the synthesis, and now it's just added to the wiki as another part. It's going to add it in a second, but here you can see that it analyzed all these different feature requests, if they have time or not, don't have time, and it just became a part of your wiki. And in the Claude MD file, if you see that it's not writing, you can make it, you can adjust how much you want it to write. And tell it, I want it to write more than you do when you think these syntheses are important or not, or write less to the knowledge base. But at the end of the day, both the skills that you create are those that are relevant. And ingest, it's just the one skill. I don't know who asked about the living and breathing, but as the structure of the knowledge base is changing or your environment is changing, you can also create new skills for it to do something across the board with the knowledge base to make it something out of it. So here you have you also top product gaps without committed fixed date, right? So as of this date, so it knows it's not something that's going to drag forever. These don't have code and so on, and vice versa. So you see all the analysis here. So now it can also go to this page, and if you go to the index, it will probably see it also in the index. So you see it in the index, and now Claude, when it first get into this knowledge base, it knows that it needs to go. I don't remember where that is, but it knows that it needs to go and search through this different search through the log file, the index file. Sorry, and the index file have exactly that, and the log file have exactly what did. Okay, so we did the synthesis of that. That's added to the wiki. These are the files that we as humans care less about. I don't care about the index. I don't care about the log. But it's much easier for the LLM to navigate within everything. So we are better viewing things in folders and structure like that, and that's that. So this is LLM Wiki and Obsidian.
Thank you so much, Uri.
I still have a couple of minutes if there are any other questions.
I have one. I was about to type it. Andrej Karpathy introduced this architecture, but what have changed in the last? That was January, I think. What have changed in the last few months that is evolving, or where is the frontier now in this since those concept and architecture was introduced?
As far as I know, we talked about it a couple of months ago. So I don't know.
I agree with you. The world is moving now every day. But so I'm asking if there is where is the cutting edge on that architecture from what you're seeing?
I don't know. I mean, for me, it's very new. I know that, and there's obviously the challenges of how we use it in scale and collaboration, and obviously how we use it for a long time. So as the knowledge base is changing after 1 year, maybe it's going to be a big mess. I don't know. So we don't have enough time for that. I think, and I don't know if that's the future of knowledge bases. I mean, obviously, vector databases are much better for large databases. This is just a different framework for managing memory of a claw, a person, a certain, something that is a little bit more narrowed in scope, I think, rather than the library of Harvard, right? So this is how I see it. I don't know where it's going to go, but for me, this is something that completely changed the way I work. Every co-work session I have is connected to a knowledge base. If I'm doing presentations in cloud design, I'm connecting it to a knowledge base of Tori, Peak, that has all the knowledge and decks, and I can tell it, prepare a deck for what we are doing in AI, and it has a deck for you. So, and I have multiple knowledge bases. Don't know if that's the best practice or not. We're trying to build now a big knowledge base that is for everyone. And also Obsidian, I have nothing to do with Obsidian. I have nothing to do, no relationship with either them or Karpathy, except for listening to him. But Obsidian is just a viewer. I built my own version of Obsidian that is different, and it has much less features, all these things on the right, and more features that I care about. So and it's much easier for me to read. So just to give you an idea, and anyone can build it in whatever time that you want. So this is my kind of Obsidian, and this is just the process that we've been through.
Yeah, you are not sharing now, or
I'm not sharing. Sorry. Just a second. Can you see my screen?
yeah.
So this is what I built for myself, which is pretty much the same as Obsidian, but this one is it's much nicer for me to read. I can also open a session in the terminals from right here. I can ask questions and so on, and other stuff. I can run skills from here. So the different skills, if I want to do ingest or whatever. We didn't do any skills here, but this is so. This is something that I can jump between everything, and it's much easier. And if it's connected to Git, I can also think or push or pull from Git right here. But this one, obviously, we didn't connect it. So this is my own Onyx. Yeah. All right.
So yeah, maybe one more question, since you mentioned the Git and so on. Is there a way to do this, like, or a practice, or anyone in the group on doing this in an organization level, like committing all this to Git, or using this kind of skills to organize your Notion or your Confluence or something like that?
At the end of the day, the LLM Wiki, if you put aside Obsidian, that's just the viewer. If the LLM Wiki approach, I don't know how to use it with Confluence or Notion. The idea for me here, that it was built from scratch by an LLM with the help of a human, and it's maintained by an LLM. And this is something that you don't have with Notion or Confluence, that we are keeping messing it up. And the LLM also doesn't have the Claude MD file or the agent MD file to know how to navigate with that knowledge base. If you think about existing systems like Confluence or Notion, right, or other similar, if it's a Git, there's no problem. It's just folder that is being updated and everybody's sharing with it. For a question how to use it on the company level, we are still figuring it out. And that's what the other question of how to get different users and who has access to what Git and so on. But this is, for me, the next step, because I want everyone to have the best knowledge all the time without the need for building skills, maintaining knowledge, exporting files, moving decks from side to side, Gong calls that everyone is analyzing and earning tokens on. And so ideally that's going to be something on an org level. I have no doubt that everyone will have these kind of knowledge bases in the organization that is maintained with human, with LLM all together. I don't think we are there yet. Like I see, like Monday they released the first one I heard as an organization that talked about it. But it was like it used to be an A10 a year ago that was pushing to whatever with some automations and Cloud Code also changed a lot of things, and Open Cloud changed a lot of things. So I don't know.
So right now in your company, each one is building his own knowledge base and using it?
Some people are starting to build it. Again, it's something very new. Some people are starting to build these knowledge bases. I'm starting to build one to see how we can use it with multiple teams. This one knowledge base that is based on this methodology. Obviously, everyone is using Cowork to ask things about HubSpot or ask things about what happened on Slack or on that channel. So it's kind of, people are using knowledge bases today that are all around the company, but there is not, and it's also a waste of resources that people are asking the same questions and the LLMs are thinking all from the beginning, all the time, all the way. So when people also started analyzing Gong calls, so you want someone will analyze for features, someone will analyze for coaching NAE, and another person will analyze it for customer churn reasons, right? And everybody is using it separately in some ways, but it's not yet available for everyone. I mean, it is available to do that, but not through a central knowledge base that is living and breathing.
Yeah.
If I may, Uri, thanks a lot. It's a great presentation. My name is Kamal. I work in knowledge graphs. At least part of my work deals with knowledge graphs. Back last year, I promised Boaz that I'll give a graph rag session, and I still owe him that. I think this is the right time to plug it in, and maybe in a successive session, pick on what you have mentioned and then show a similar solution, but at a enterprise scale level being successful. I feel so. Ofer asked about where the frontier is in this technology, right? So this LLM Wiki idea is more like a piped down version of knowledge graphs, and knowledge graphs have been there forever, right? They've been there since last 20 years at least. And GraphRag has been a Microsoft's paper in 2020s, some early 2020s, I guess. So the idea of knowledge graphs, Andrej took it very beautifully and put it as his personal brain idea. The second brain idea has been floating for a while, and I think he got frustrated and said, this is the right way to do it. Go ahead and do it. And I think I can see inspirations that you're driving in your company with that and all. And I personally have something very similar using Obsidian as well. There are some scaling limits, of course. All those questions were asked, and you also addressed a lot of these in your talk. But I feel if you're looking for enterprise level solutions, like you have an org that has documentation that scales beyond 10,000 documents or whatever, right? And you're planning to offer this as a chatbot solution for all the wiki in your org or whatever, then I would suggest start with this is a very great idea, and then I think we should scale to using knowledge graphs. It is easily transferable into a knowledge graph solution. People can easily understand how to use whatever has been developed as a knowledge base using LLM Wiki into a knowledge graph. There is a small learning curve in actually understanding the ciphers, how to query a knowledge graph database model and all of that. but that switch is very organic and people can translate from there. So I feel there's a natural transition of starting with this LLM wiki for any small org and then take it to knowledge graphs as soon as you feel there are some errors happening. The fundamental small differences between both the approaches. This is write heavy in the sense there are chances of hallucination and error propagation that can go into the wikis. But I think the models nowadays are very good. So we can have, and also how do you calculate, when you automate the session for your org, how do you calculate the effectiveness or what metrics will you use? Knowledge graphs and GRAG, on the other hand, have industry standard metrics, leaderboard and those kind of things to actually see how a library is doing with GraphRag and all. So LLM Wiki is more like a personal idea, turning into implementations in small enterprises. But as soon as you grow beyond a size, I think you should jump back to GRAG, is what I feel.
Problem. And I'd love to be on your talk to listen how it works there.
Yeah, sure. I think I need
to do something on knowledge graphs.
Yes, the problem is I want to understand the crowd. That's why I keep attending these sessions. Now I know the crowd way more than what I knew in December, so that when I deliver something, it will be of high value. It won't be just coming and covering 20 slides, like how Uri mentioned. Everyone here understood and they now know how to use it. So back in October, I don't think my presentation had that value in it, and I see it growing. Definitely, Boaz, I think we should target it in the upcoming days. I will reach out to you. We are in touch through WhatsApp anyways, so I have it on top of my mind, for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm going to big kudos for Boaz, and that's why I love with this community that it's all hands-on and how to build stuff and not just, the high-level theory. I need to go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
everyone.
much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This was great. Thank you, Boaz.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Uri.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Boaz.